Hello, welcome to the Villages, Florida. My name is David. I'm a realtor with Florida Realty Investments, and every week I take a very in depth look at what's happening in the real estate market here. There are a couple of things that are worse than they've ever been, and a couple of other metrics that are showing some improvement. We're going to cover all of that in depth with graphs and charts and analysis. But before we do that, let me give you a brief introduction to the Villages itself. We're a 55 plus community. It's like living in a resort to live here. We have championship golf, executive golf courses spread throughout the villages, shopping, entertainment, and there's live music at four town squares every night of the year, including holidays. If you're looking for a retirement paradise, the villages is for you. Couple of things to note. The Villages has two real estate marketplaces, the MLS and the VLS. All of this information is drawn from the MLS. The MLS is the real estate market that you're familiar with from other cities around the country. We have only pre owned homes on the MLS. The VLS is the village's own internal marketplace. You will find pre owned and new homes there. It's the only marketplace on which you'll find new homes. But this causes a quandary for buyers. If you don't have an agent who is showing you both VLS and MLS properties, you will only be seeing about half of the properties available for sale here. Also, noteworthy is the fact that we produce this show every week. Make sure you check the date to ensure you're getting the most recent information. If you find this show entertaining or worthwhile or interesting, please consider liking or subscribing to the channel. It really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And if you need to reach me, I can be reached either at DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida at gmail.com. If you reach out to me, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have and or help you find the home you're looking for. So with that preamble out of the way, let's take a look at what's happening this week. We start every week by taking a look at what's happening with interest rates. The chart you're looking at is showing you daily prices for the yield on the 10-year note. The 30-year mortgage most closely tracks this yield. And you can see that despite falling over the last year or so, we're now moving higher again. You're probably seeing mortgage rates over 7% and possibly headed even higher. A lot of purchases in the villages are made for cash, and people think that interest rates aren't going to have any effect on prices. But I will point out that many buyers here for cash are selling their homes elsewhere in the country, and the buyers of those homes are going to need mortgages. So ultimately, home prices will be affected by interest rates. So let's take an in-depth look at what's happening in the real estate market here. What you're looking at is a chart showing you the total number of listings on a week-by-week basis going back over 3 years. This week, 675 active listings. This is not as high as it's been. It was 689 on the 5th of May of this year. And I've also included this chart, which shows you total number of listings over the last year, giving you a better perspective on what's been happening recently. We are about 50% higher in terms of number of listings versus a year ago. And you can see that the number of listings is gradually declining, but certainly not enough to make up for the elevated level that we're seeing currently. Yeah, we keep track of how long the listings have been on the market. This is the median listing time for all active listings. This week, 66 days. We'll point out that the highest level we ever saw was 67 days on the 30th of December of 2024. It's hard to believe that as we enter the slower summer season, that the listing time is going to be improving. Here we look at the median list price per foot for all active MLS listings. I'm going to do the same thing as with the previous chart. I'm going to show you this longer term chart going back 3 years and also zoom in on the last year. 252.19 is the lowest median list price per foot that we've seen here in the villages. Here we zoom in on the median list price per foot over the last year, and this chart probably looks even more dramatic than the previous one. The decline in median price per square foot seems very evident looking at the last year's pricing. We're going to be looking at listings in a little more detail. The Villages has several different geographic regions. I'm going to start by orienting you for those who don't know. The Villages is located in Central Florida. We're about an hour north of Orlando, about an hour south of Ocala. and about an hour and a half from coasts to the east and west. But there are so many amenities here that many villages never leave the confines of the villages itself. These maps are showing you all active listings on the MLS as of today. The size of the circle denotes the size of the property, and the color of the circle denotes its price. Some of these I'll be showing you price per square foot graphics, and some of these will be just current prices. Here we're looking at current prices. The larger the circle, the larger the home. The brighter the circle, the more expensive the home. And when we look at price per square foot, the brighter the circle, the more expensive per square foot. I've divided the villages into four separate geographic regions. The first is the north. This is everything south of Highway 42 and north of 466. This includes Spanish Springs Town Square. This is the older part of the villages. The second area is the area I'm calling the Mid-North. This is everything south of 466 and north of 466A, commonly referred to here as between the sixes. This area includes Lake Sumter Town Square. This is one of the more popular areas in the villages because of its proximity to so many amenities. The third area is the Mid-South. We're getting into the newer part of the villages here. This is everything south of 466 and north of Highway 44, and this includes Brownwood Town Square. And the fourth area is the area I'm referring to as the South. This is everything south of Highway 44. This is the newest part of the villages. This is the direction of the villages' growth. And you'll see coming up that we're seeing increasing levels of activity in the South. Here's a summary for all active listings this week for the village's MLS system as a whole. 674 active listings. Sizes range from 786 square feet to 4,987, with 1,527 square feet being the median size. Prices range from 125,000 to 1,550,000, with 375,000 being the median price. And on a per foot basis, prices range from $133 a foot to $513 a foot, with $252 a square foot being the median. I'll give you more information as to activity levels in the next slide, but for now, let's just take a look at the different regions of the villages and see how they compare. Here you can see how many active listings there are in each of the four regions. You can see the size range with the median, the price range with the median, and the price per square foot range with the median. You can see that the South is definitely showing increased levels of activity, and I'll cover that more in this next slide. Here's another look at the four different regions. You can see how many active listings there are this week and for the prior 6 weeks. You can also see how many homes went pending over the previous 60 days and how many homes closed over the last 60 days. If the number is an increase from the previous week, it's highlighted in green. If it's a decrease, it's highlighted in red. Interesting to note that both the North, Mid-North, and Mid-South both saw a decrease in the number of active listings this week. The South is the only region of the villages that saw more active listings this week than last. Here's one more look that highlights the differences between the regions. Here we're looking at active listings once again, and we can see what year the home was constructed. You can see the entirety of the villages on the right, the north, mid-north, mid-south, and south on the left. And you can see that in the north, construction really was between 1980 and 2000. In the middle north, between 2000 and 2010. In the middle south, from 2010 to 2020. And in the South, construction really only began in 2020. Our last look at all of the listings. These are all active MLS listings this week. You can see 674. I've broken it down by price segment so you can see how many homes are available in each of the price segments. Most active segment here is the $300,000 to $400,000 range, 247 active listings. Homes costing more than $1 million, totaling only 14 active listings this week. So now let's look at what changed last week. We're looking at how many new listings were added to the market and how many homes went pending and left the market. This is a 4-week average, as is the figure of -1 3/4 that you see. The red line is new listings, the blue line, homes going pending. You'll see that last week there actually were more homes going pending than were newly listed. It's only been for the last 2 weeks that we've actually seen pending home sales exceed new listings. This next chart will show you on a week by week basis, whereas this one is showing you a 4 week average. This is an unsmoothed graph. You can see week by week the difference between new listings and pending home sales. The zero line represents an equal number of new listings and homes going pending. Readings below the zero line are more new listings than homes going pending. Above the zero line, more homes going pending than being listed. The last 2 weeks are the first time that we've seen pending home sales exceed new listings for about the last 6 months or so. We start taking a closer look at the homes that went pending over the last 7 days. The graph is a smooth 4 week average, as is the 60-day figure. You can see that days on the market is definitely been increasing and continues to increase. This is the median price per square foot at which the homes went pending. Smooth 4 week average once again, 245.58, also representing a 4 week average. We're definitely at the lower end of the range, although last week did see a small improvement from the previous week. Here we look at the homes going pending over the last 7 days once again, and this is the price reduction from the original asking price for the homes going pending over the last 7 days, just below 6%, the median price reduction. For those curious as to where activity is taking place, these are the homes that went pending over the last 30 days. On this map, you're looking at size of the home and price per square foot. The color of the circle representing price per square foot. Larger the circle, larger the home. Brighter the circle, more expensive per square foot. You can get a sense of where activity is taking place. Over the last 30 days, 152 homes went pending in the villages. Now let's look at the homes that closed last week. The 4 week average of the number of sales is just under 40 sales. You can see that we are at the highs that we would normally see at this time of year, but it's not much of a comfort when you see the elevated level of listings to see the number of sales not make new highs also. Here we take a look at how long the homes that closed last week were on the market. Median time on the market, this is a 4 week average. 40 days, you can see it's starting to climb again, but this chart really doesn't reflect the reality. I'm going to move to an unsmoothed chart to give you a better perspective on what's happening here. This is the same information as the previous graph, but this is unsmoothed. You can see a big increase in the median days on the market for the homes closing over the last 7 days. 69 days on the market for those homes. Only 3 weeks have had worse readings than that over the last 3 years. I'm showing you two graphs because the average really disguises the dramatic change we saw last week. I'm also going to show you two graphs for the price per square foot on the homes closing last week, because when you have a smooth average, it doesn't really capture the volatility of week to week activity. And last week did see a big change. The median price per square foot average over the last 4 weeks is 246 a foot for the homes closing over the last 7 days. The reason I'm showing you this graph, which is not smoothed, is because the decrease was so dramatic. For the homes that closed over the last 7 days, the median price per square foot was $226 a foot. This is the lowest ever median price per square foot for homes closing that we've seen since we started collecting this data 3 years ago. There are seasonal factors at play in sales activity here, but before I go into that, let me just show you this map. You can get a sense of where activity is. This map is showing you all of the homes that closed over the last 30 days. Once again, size of the circle, size of the home, and the color of the circle is the price per square foot. Brighter the circle, more expensive per square foot. There were also 152 homes that closed over the last 30 days, identical to the number of homes that went pending over the last 30 days. I often have people ask me when a good time to buy or sell would be. Here we can take a look at sales activity on a week by week basis going back 3 years. The dark blue line is number of sales per week for 2022, light green line 2023, the red line 2024, and the light blue line is this year 2025. We are very much mirroring the same level of activity this year that we saw last year. Sales activity is not really down, but it certainly isn't greater than it was last year. Here we've smoothed the same data that you just saw. You're looking at a 4-week average of sales per week. The light green line 2023, dark blue line 2024, and the light blue line 2025. It seems likely that for the next 20 weeks or so, we're going to be seeing a continual decrease in sales activity here. I originally thought that this chart would be illuminating, but it has not proven to be so thus far. Here we're looking at how many weeks of inventory the current listing number and sales numbers represent. We're just below 20 weeks of inventory as of this week here in the MLS system. And here we have one of probably the most shocking of the graphs this week. Here we're looking at what percentage of MLS listings have reduced their asking price from the original asking price. We're up to 62.81%, but as I've been pointing out for the last couple of weeks, the rise since the beginning of the year is noteworthy. There were less than half of listings having reduced their asking price at that point. And here we look once again at all listings, looking at the median price reduction for all MLS listings. We're at 4.89%. That is the median price reduction from the original asking price for all MLS listings. Once again, noteworthy that as of the beginning of December or so, the median price reduction was under 3.5% here. I'd like to make a special plea to real estate professionals who are watching this show. Please consider supporting me via Patreon. We produce the show every week. I know we have a lot of realtors who watch the show. If you would just contribute the minimum $5 contribution, it really would help us with our expenses and time and effort that we put forth to give you this information. And if you're a buyer looking for a good deal here, please reach out to me at DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. Be happy to help you find a property that meets your needs and hopefully is a good deal as well. And if you're a seller and you're trying to decide whether to list on MLS or VLS, since you cannot list on both marketplaces, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to advise you as to what your options are. If you have any questions about life in Central Florida or life in the villages itself, or you'd like me to research a property for you, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to help. Hope to hear from you. Take care.